And on the news and details, Justice Joe Archer has been sworn in as the acting Chief Judge of the Edo State High Court. Justice Archer replaces Honorable Justice Esther Edigi, who retired from service on the 17th of May as the most senior judge in the state's judiciary. Born on the 19th of May, 1958, in the present-day Owo in Ondo State, Honorable Archer was appointed and sworn in as a judge in Edo State's High Court in September 2001. He has occupied numerous positions, including head, Criminal Court Division, Benin City, between 2017 to 2020, as well as coordinator and chairman Edo State Justice Sector Reform Team, among others. Justice Archer is from Okpekpe, Esako East local government area of Edo State, and the third chief judge to be sworn in by Governor Godwin Obaseki between 2017 till date. A Benin-based human rights lawyer, Olaiwola Afolabi, has inaugurated an annual award to be given to 3 law students for the next 4 years in honor of the immediate past Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Esther Edigi. According to the legal luminary, the annual award entitled Justice Esther Edigi Law Award was to honor the retired justice following her objectivity and sense of legal disposition. Afolabi described her as incorruptible, calm, and fearless.
In course of the case, I cross-examined Justice Edigi and in another judge court. We now have a matter in our own court, and the same lawyer that appeared for Justice Edigi is the same lawyer that now appeared for the opponents in our court, and I was also there. So we concluded that we are going to lose that case in our court because I'm suing her personally for our further estates. But as God will have it, we are shocked. Won that case in our court. Of course, it's a natural thing. It's do me and do you. But Joseph said no. When you appear before me, it's law. Forget your sentiments. How much is it? Few judges can do that. So, and that's why we say today we must honor her. We look at how do you honor her. Because 3 students from Ambrose Ali University. We decided we're going to give them wig and gown, which we have bought. They are tested, and they are all here with half bag of rice each.
Food items were added to help sustain good nutrition for the awardees while they face their studies. A lawyer and staff of Olaiwola Afolabi Chambers, Osamudiame Anthony Sula, has this to say about the retired Chief Judge of Edo State.
Her judgments are always logical and cogent and also open-minded. Those are judgments that even at the court of appeal, it cannot be easily be faulted. My observation of her again also was when I appeared before her in a matter, in fundamental right action, which I filed before her court. I remember after my final submission, she looked at me and said, "Young counsel, I like your brilliance and your eloquence." You know, those beautiful words to me that day were a source of inspiration, and I've always taken them there to heart. And she encouraged me to always continue in that light. So apart from just being a judge, she's also a mother.
The first set of beneficiaries are Samuel Erumusele, Benedicta Osunde, and Elizabeth Erumusele. The beneficiaries were full of appreciation to Barrister Olaiwola Afolabi and called on other well-meaning Nigerians to emulate such gestures.
Samuel Usuta, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate the benefactor of this award, Olaiwola Afolabi Esquire. I want to thank him on behalf of I and my colleagues. I want to appreciate him for this privilege, and also want to appreciate Honorable Justice Esther Edigi, and on whose behalf this program and event was organized.
Still in Edo State, the Edo State Secretariat of National Youth Service Corps NYC has announced the appointment of Abiodu Olubukola as the new state coordinator of the scheme. Olubukola assumed office after the retirement of Adebayo Clement Ojo. The new coordinator is a native of Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State. She took over duties at the NYC Edo State Secretariat on Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. Talking politics in Edo State, where the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the state says it is consulting widely with relevant stakeholders, including the leader of the party in the state, Governor Godwin Obaseki, to address the recent developments and move the state forward. In a statement signed on Monday by the State Public Secretary, Chris Naikari, said the event that led to the unfortunate and regrettable situation is being tackled and lots of progress has been made. The party is therefore calling on its members and the general public to continue to ignore falsehood and propaganda from those bent on destabilizing the party. The restates that Governor Obaseki and PDP are desirous of a state that is prosperous, peaceful, united, secure, and healthy. And now away from it, those states, despite the challenges in the implementation of the Acting Open Grazing Law by some southern states, no fewer than 8 states are now set to enact the law following the pronouncement of the 17th Southern Governors. In Ondo State, the anti-open grazing law has passed through the public hearing stage at the State House of Assembly. According to reports, the chairman, House of Assembly Committee on Information, Honorable Benga Omole, said the proposed law was committed for public hearing after it had passed through the first and second reading. He said the anticipated law had been committed to committee level and would have been passed if not for the strike by Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria. The House of Representatives has announced plans to hold a 5-day security summit next week to seek solutions to the security challenges in the country. The Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, made the announcement during a public hearing on the Armed Forces Support Trust Fund. The 5-day summit will take a holistic view of the various security issues and the best way to solve the problems. Still talking security, the Defense Headquarters said the Nigerian military will need a budget of not less than $6 billion in 3 years to effectively tackle the growing security crisis across the country. According to the Director of Production, Defense Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal M.A. Yakubu, the country will have to budget not less than $2 billion annually and consecutively for at least 3 years to be able to make the armed forces efficient. Yakubu made this known in Abuja on Monday at a public hearing organized by the House Committee on Defense on the Armed Forces Support Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2021. Yakubu said even the sources of funding which the bill specifies will be inadequate to tackle the problem. The House had introduced the bill over the growing security crisis across the country. It seeks to creatively make funds available through deductions from statutory receipts of the federal government as well as voluntary donations for 5 years, subject to extension. However, Yakubu stated that the annual 100 billion naira being projected to be an additional fund to the armed forces will still leave them underfunded. There was a high level of compliance among workers on Monday as the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) commenced street protests and enforcement of its 5-day warning strike in Kaduna State. Members of the Labour movement led by the NLC President Ayuba Waba took the streets on Monday morning to protest the anti-Labour policies of Kaduna State government. The first point of call of the protest, which started from NLC Secretariat at Racecourse Road, was the Kaduna State Secretariat, where the NLC President addressed the workers on the essence of the strike action. The protesters therefore headed towards the State House of Assembly, which was under lock and keys. However, when the locked gates of the State House of Assembly were forced open by the security personnel, the workers remained outside in what looked like compliance with NLC directive. The NLC is protesting mass sack of workers by the Kaduna State government from the civil service. Meanwhile, the state government has insisted that it will not be intimidated by the strike to stop its plans to downsize its workforce. Coming up in a moment on our business news, the National Bureau of Statistics says inflation reduced by 0.05% in April. Details in a moment.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business, the gains and the losses, the bulls and bears, the rise and falls, the risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the morning market, forecast, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says inflation rate reduced by 0.05% in April compared to what was obtained in March. It said while the inflation rate stood at 18.17% in March, it reduced to 18.12% in April. The rate is contained in the NBS's Consumer Price Index report for April 2021 released on Monday in Abuja. The report also said increases were recorded in all classification of individual consumption by purpose divisions that yielded the headline index. On month-on-month basis, the headline index increased by 0.97% in April. This is 0.59% points higher than the rate recorded in March. The NBS said the percentage change in the average composite of CPI for the 12-month period ending in April over the average of CPI for the previous 12-month period was 15.04%. This, it said, represented a 0.48% increase over 14.55% recorded in March. It, however, said that the rural index also rose by 0.95% in April, down by 0.57% compared to the 1.52% rate recorded in March. And that said on business. We'll be back for sport news after this short break. Please stay with us.
Public notice. This is to bring to the attention of the public that the whole area of land known as Godwin Omonua Estate, located at number 10 Omonua Estate Road, off Rubenago and Upper Desuwe Khaled Road area of the GRA, has been designated by Edo State government to be used in implementation of the ongoing stormwater alleviation works at the GRA area of Benin City. This information is also fully known to the Godwin Omonua family, who have been in conversation with Edo State New Map since the commencement of the project. Government wishes to further draw the attention of the public to a persisting lawsuit at the Federal High Court amongst several stakeholders, including members of the Godwin Omonua family, that restrains any form of transaction or sale activities on the said land. Government hereby alerts the public not to be deceived into buying any plot of land at the area known as Godwin Omonua Estate, Upper Desuwe Road, GRA, as doing so is at the buyer's risk. Government is resolved to using the said land in solving the perennial flooding that has made life unbearable for residents of the GRA over these years. Buyers are therefore warned to desist from having any transaction on the said land or carrying any form of development on same Godwin Omonua Estate. Signed, Edo State New Map.
You're welcome back, and now in sport, Anna Danjuma scores as Bournemouth beat Brentford in Champions Playoffs first leg win. Details shortly. And now talking sports, where AFC Bournemouth manager Jonathan Woodgate says he knows his side still have it all to do to overcome Brentford in the Champions Playoff semi-final, despite winning the first leg 1-0 at the Vitality Stadium on Monday evening. Anna Danjuma scored the only goal early in the second half in front of a crowd of around 2,000 home fans, but Brentford missed a glorious chance to level through Brian Mpemo. Emiliano Marcondes was also denied by a smart block from goalkeeper Asmi Begovic after coming off the bench. Danjuma also almost added a second goal late for Bournemouth from a free kick only for David Raya to palm it wide. In the second playoff match, Swansea City defeated Barnsley 1-0 with Ghanaian striker Andre Ayew netting the goal. The return legs will take place on Saturday. And now to boxing, finally on sport. WBC champion Tyson Fury has been ordered to fight Deontay Wilder for a third time, casting doubt over a proposed August Super Bowl with Anthony Joshua. On Monday, a U.S. judge, Daniel Washington, ruled in mediation that Wilder has a right to face Fury for a third time before 15 September. The Americans team had long argued their fighter had a contractual right to a third fight with the Briton. The 32-year-old Fury won the WBC World Heavyweight title from Wilder in a rematch in February 2020 after an initial draw. The duo were due to fight again, but delays caused by the COVID-19 pandemic prompted the Gypsy King to seek an alternative after he refused a 2021 date. The mediation outcome does not necessarily mean a Fury-Joshua fight cannot take place in August, but fresh deals will now need to be struck for it to do so. And that's it in sport news. And that's the news. Well, before we go, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. On the news this morning, we told you that Edo State has gotten a new acting chief judge, and also 8 southern states is set to enact law anti-open grazing law. And finally, Nimasi receives last batch of assets on the Deep Blue projects. Please do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. And do not forget, you can listen to us anywhere in the world, either by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our KU mobile app from the Google Play Store. Remember, you can also listen to us anywhere in the world, either by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our KU mobile app from the Google Play Store. And you can also listen to us on RadioGuardian.com. KUFM's News Dawn was produced by Blessing Asekome. I am God's Love Orlando, saying thanks for listening and good morning.
Don't you touch that dial. Sugar, don't touch that dial.
KUFM 92.7.
Say many things I can do for you if you let me do what I do for you. Farabalẹ̀ fún mi lọ́la.